Welcome to Porto Business School. Today we're going to talk about sustainability. We have the pleasure to have Gillian Wilson today, Professor of Sustainability of our MBA programs. And it's a great pleasure to have Gillian here today to talk us about some of the challenges that we're facing in business schools.
Thank you
Welcome,
for having
Gillian.
me. Thank you.
The first question that we have is, what is the role of business schools and Porto Business School in our academics in addressing climate crisis and all the climate issues that we're currently facing?
So everyone has a role to play. Governments have a role to play. Business has a role to play. Us as individuals, as citizens, we have a role to play as well. Academics and business schools, I think the key role for us is around how do we prepare future leaders for the future of business, basically. Sustainability is no longer an option for businesses anymore, so it shouldn't really be an option for business schools either. And I think it's a very complex issue. It's something that business is really struggling to get to grips with in a lot of senses. And I think part of our role is also to help business and help educate business as to how to integrate sustainability within their organisations. Overall, I would say our role is to prepare, are we being part of the problem or part of the solution? Are we preparing students for a future that may not happen, or are we preparing them to help make the future better?
Thank you. So moving on to the next question, I think that and I quote you, that every job is a climate job. So how should students benefit from learning sustainability-related topics? And what kind of skills do they should learn or should be learning at business schools and for their future workplace?
I mean, firstly, I think it's we as educators are helping students to adapt to the future job market. Sustainability is certainly, as a discipline, something that is growing. Sustainability manager was within one of the top jobs that are growing within the last year or two, and certainly in the last 5 years or so. But it's not just focusing specifically on being a sustainability manager, because sustainability needs to be, it affects all of us. It affects every department from finance to marketing to HR. So it needs to be integrated into every discipline. From a student perspective, I think the most interesting skills are around systems thinking. So it's not just thinking in silos about my department or my business or my company. It's about taking into consideration the impact of your decisions on society, on the planet as well. And I think more than anything, sustainability, we don't have it figured out. We don't have it figured out, and we don't have all the answers. So it really, really helps students to deal with uncertainty. And sometimes it's quite uncomfortable not to have an answer. Sometimes we like things to be clear cut and we like a straight answer to things, but there's no silver bullet, there's no one solution. So it almost forces us to be a lot more adaptive and make different kinds of decisions. I think also in terms of sustainability helps or can help students to develop more strategies that are related to collective well-being as well. So not just considering the profit or the growth of the business. And that's another question as well, how do we manage sustainability with the current goals of business, which is around profit and growth as well. So those are interesting skills, I think, for students to develop. But I think overall, standing out in the job market as well. Businesses are looking for talent and young talent that know how to think in these ways and have these skills, whether it's empathy, self-awareness as well, knowing what your role is within the future.
Thank you. Very inspiring. So we're in a business school, right? So we talk about business a lot. So what do you think are some tips that we should give our faculty as academics to start integrating sustainability in the curriculum?
I think the first thing, which is very key, is to understand why we're doing this. So understand the science. And I know this from working with business as well, sometimes we're quite quick to just jump into how this affects us. But I think you really need to understand the why behind it and the kind of systems, pressures and trends. And I mean, you don't need to be a scientist, you don't need to know everything. You can't know everything, but just focus on how it is relevant to your department, your discipline. So if you work in finance, if you work in HR, or how specifically is sustainability relevant to my role? I mean, in terms of the climate science, there's plenty of free resources out there and courses. The UN do 1-2 hour long courses just to understand the basics of why we're doing this. Keep up to date in terms of the Financial Times Moral Money. McKinsey have a lot of good resources as well. And think about how you could perhaps incorporate whether they're case studies that you already use. Maybe the company that you're using in class has a sustainability strategy, has a sustainability challenge perhaps as well. Is what you're teaching normally incoherent with sustainability? Throw those questions out to the students to ask them, to think about how we can integrate sustainability, those sustainability questions within the case study. Guest speakers as well. As I said, we can't know everything. We don't have all the answers. Invite someone from a company that you know is integrating sustainability and have them answer the questions for the students. For me, I think it's almost an expectation now of students, and it's something that I think they come to the classroom, particularly in the core courses, they come to the classroom thinking, not rolling their eyes, but a bit kind of, I don't know why I need to learn about sustainability. And once they learn, they don't understand why they hadn't learnt it before and why they don't have it in every single class. So it's one of these things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So students are more and more demanding and wondering why they're not having sustainability content with every class. I guess, that's the demands of the market, is that we teach sustainability in every single class. So,
thank you very much. So I have one more question to you. You mentioned that the why is very important. Of course, for Porto Business School, having sustainability in our vision, preparing leaders for that future where sustainability plays an important part. How do we know, or organizations know, that they're doing enough?
Oh, yeah. Well, they need to come along to one of the classes to find out. Part of the problem is there's no set definition about what sustainability is, and it's difficult for an organisation to know, what's your start point and what's your end point. What is the end point? What will sustainability look like once I get it right? And I think that is part of the challenge as well. One company's definition of what they're doing right is being sustainable is probably not the same as someone else's. So I think we're still lacking a lot of standards and a lot of understanding as to what good sustainability looks like. I think we're still quite far off getting it. It's new to businesses as well. We are still figuring this out to a large extent. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to be figuring it out. I think we're almost looking for too much perfection as well and expecting too much from business. The amount of demands that you have to manage on top of everything else. We need more companies doing sustainability imperfectly than just having one or two doing it perfectly. But I can understand there's a pressure from business just now to pull back a little bit because of accusations of greenwashing. So it's finding this balance between being proud about what you're doing and getting it right, but there'll always be someone who thinks you could be doing better, and that pushes companies to do better as well. But at the end of the day, we don't have time for perfection as well.
Thank you. I think that finding the imperfect business model that addresses business needs and as well sustainability is the key message here. Thank you a lot for being here, Gillian. Welcome to Porto Business School, and thank you all for being with us today. And hope to see you all at Porto Business School classes on sustainability. We're doing our best to see that future. Thank you.
Thank you.